to another episode of Disturbing Reasons to Be Afraid of the Dark. I hope you all enjoyed my video yesterday. If you haven't watched yet, go ahead and go check out. Click the subscribe button, hit the bell button so I can let you know when I upload, because I upload every single day. Yes, I do. Except for on Saturdays. Sometimes I go back and forth with it because it's kind of like an off day for me. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and hurry up and get started because this story is really long. And I really want to try to get it all in this video so that way... because the best part is the ending, and I don't want to leave y'all hanging without the best part, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to hurry up, get it all done, so that way y'all have it all. Without further ado, let's get started. Fire. Okay, and this is a story. It's a true story from Reddit, Catacombs de Paris. It is a true scary story. If you know what Reddit is, if you don't, I would very recommend you go check out Reddit. It is the best. Oh my goodness, like, you have no idea. Like, you just go check it out, okay? Reddit, no sleep. Go check it out. I recommend it. This is not hashtag spons. They are not sponsoring me. But if you want to, I'm here. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Scary true story. A while ago, I was in Paris. It was still the off season, when not as many tourists flocked to the city, but popular attractions will always be popular. And with popularity comes queues. So my friend and I decided to invest in our time, as we call it, and pay $10 extra to cut the queue for the catacombs. We Googled a way to do so and were presented with a myriad of options. After a fair amount of scrolling, we happened upon one that was considerably cheaper than the rest. The trade-off. We had to hike to a tiny, sketchy store and read a specific man a few numbers. So being young and unafraid, we did it. Everything went off without a hitch. We bid the man a kind of au revoir and were on our way. Once we arrived at the catacombs entrance, we were immediately greeted with a winding line of people. Feeling self-satisfied, we walked right past everyone and asked the man guarding the entrance where we should go to redeem our cutting privileges. He spoke discreetly into a walkie-talkie and then ushered us in. We were shown what appeared to be an alternate entrance by another employee, who averted his eyes from us and quickly handed over to audio guides. My friend and I smiled in appreciation, but he did not acknowledge us. As we began descending the spiraling staircase, I looked over my shoulder. The man was watching us. When I met his eyes accidentally, he slowly turned away and spoke into his walkie-talkie. 666. He laughed and shut the door to the entrance. My friend was completely unaware of what had just transpired. She was too keen on making it into the catacombs before the next wave of people were released. By her estimate, we had 30 minutes before they were allowed down. I brushed the incident off with ease, assuming that he was having fun with two foreigners. After all, it must be monstrous to a man, a place where almost everyone was a tourist. My friend and I began the audio tour, faithfully following the numbers on the wall. When we got to the actual catacombs, we were so amazed that both of us forgot to keep up with the audio guide. We stood in wonder, peering at every skull, every bone, and every crevice. Both of us were horror movie and creepy story buffs. We certainly enjoyed a good scare, the kind where you involuntarily shiver or your eyes can't help but water a bit. We made a turn and were presented with two options, to go left or to go right. We peered down the passages on each side, but couldn't see the end of either. So we kept left. As we walked, we realized that we had made the wrong choice. Right where our line of sight ended, there was a gate blocking the path. My friend stared at the gate for a minute before saying anything. Hey, look! She stuck her tired arm through the side of the gate that was supposed to be flush against the wall of the catacombs. There was almost a foot of space left completely unguarded. I stood beside her, looking through into the tunnel beyond. I was wary. Every other gate we had passed didn't allow enough room for a wandering hand to slip through to the other side. Before I could give my 2 cents about the anomaly, my friend spoke up once again. What if we went through? She asked solemnly. The question sent chills tingling through my body. The sensible part of me wanted to answer immediately with an absolutely not. But I knew her. I knew myself. We loved the thrill of the scare more than we feared the repercussions. She slid through first, pressing her back up against the wall and easing herself into the other side. I followed suit, comforting myself with the knowledge that we were well ahead of the next group of tourists. I turned on the flashlight on my phone, lighting the way ahead of us. There was a faint dripping sound coming from within the catacombs. It had been raining earlier that day. We made our way slowly, hearts racing and pupils struggling to adjust to the decreased light. A little ways up, we realized that there were more and more holes in the tunnel walls. Feeling brave, I leaned into the wall and pressed my forehead against it, looking into the void. I wasn't sure what I was hoping to see. There was just complete blackness. After walking for a while, we realized that the tunnel was probably nothing special. Perhaps it was closed off for maintenance or was used by the staff as a shortcut. We turned around, feeling giddy with triumph for our covetousness and bravery in the exploration. As we walked back, my friend and I made a game of looking into random holes, betting a few euros who would see a deposit of bones there first. At roughly the dozenth hole, I glanced into and shudder overcame me. I couldn't pull away fast enough. It reminded me of when I had accidentally grazed an electric fence as a child. For some reason, I was drawn back to the hole before I could process what was happening. I put my hand up to the crevices, letting my fingers graze the inside of it. It felt eerily smooth. I realized that it was paper. I slid it out carefully, letting it fall into the open palm of my other hand. By this time, my friend realized I had discovered something and came to look over my shoulder. "What the fudge is that?" Her voice rang out into the space around us, but I didn't even flinch. I shone my flashlight onto the paper, and to my relief, it was blank. I let out a sigh of relief, and she laughed at the momentary fear I experienced. With a regained composure, we slipped back through the gate and continued on our way. I tucked the paper into my purse for safekeeping. I would have thrown it out, but there was no receptacles, and I wouldn't allow myself to litter. We exited the catacombs shortly after. It was pouring rain outside, and we took cover in a nearby cafe until it eased up and we could hail a cab without being drenched to the bone. The rest of our tour trip was wonderful, filled with a great laughs and great food and great wine. It wasn't until I arrived home that I remembered the piece of paper I had found in the catacombs. I was alone in my apartment unpacking everything when I dumped it out of my purse. I looked at it, reminiscing on the trip and feeling a warmth spread in my chest from the good experiences we had. It wasn't until I was about to drop it into the recycling bin that I realized something. The paper had faint words scrawled on it. "Thank you for taking me home. You're the most lovely one yet." I shook as I reread the words, trying to talk some sense into my situation. The writing was ordinate. Certainly not my friend's. I called her in a panic just to be sure, ready to berate her for showing off her new handwriting skills in such a terrifying manner. When she answered, I scolded her. She was genuinely bewildered. I knew she had no clue that the paper had nothing written on it, let alone something as creepy as the message. I was staring at it. She promised to come over as soon as she could to take a look at it. I folded the paper once again and set it on top of my bed. About an hour later, there was a knock on my door. I answered it, overjoyed to see my friend standing in the hallway. She consoled me, telling me that it was a prank gone away, and I had been unfortunately enough to be on the receiving end of it with the same first name. I believed her up until this week. Someone has been following me, watching me. I can feel it. When I walk home from work in the evening, I can't help but continue to look over my shoulder. Every time I do, I see a wisp of black hair and a tip of a shoe, but then nothing. I am living in silent fear. I hear knocks on my door, but nobody is there. When I look through the peephole, I get missed calls from an unknown number every few days, and today, a blank piece of paper arrived in the mail with no return address. Someone, please help me. I don't want to live this alone. I got goosebumps. I don't know if you see it. Oh my god, I got goosebumps. I really enjoyed this story. Like, I was genuinely happy I found it. Let me know what you think of it. it was really interesting. I have two more stories of the catacombs to tell y'all. The other two are a lot longer. This one I was very fortunate enough to find, and it wasn't that long, and I was able to tell it to y'all in one video, which I'm very excited about because the best part is at the end, so I didn't want to give you half of it and be like, oh, you have to wait till tomorrow. And no, I didn't want to do that. And the other one has a lot more to it. Like, it has, like, a lot more suspense. You see Jenny? Say hi. Tell the people hi, Jenny. She's getting so big. And my baby. She's so bad. She scratched me, too. Oh, it's bleeding. But thank y'all for watching Disturbing Reasons to Be Afraid of the Dark. Please stay tuned tomorrow for the next story. And the third story is not about the Paris catacombs, but it's still about the catacombs, just in another part of the world. But I couldn't figure out where. So I'm sorry about that. It did not say. I just assumed it was in Ukraine. I guess I got it mixed up with another one I read. But I'm sorry about that. But yeah, stay tuned for that one. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be the bomb. I can't wait for y'all to hear it. Thank you for watching. And remember, stay scared, my Nikki Loos.